What's up, everybody? We are here at Black Hawk, ready to start our first hike of the summer. Today we are taking the red trail. We're going to end up over in Wolverine, and we're going to be hitting a bunch of stops along the way. So I can't wait for y'all to join me, and we're going to start now. It's a loon! It looks like a fungus, but it's actually a plant, and it doesn't have any chlorophyll. Up here on our left, we have our Black Hawk Nature area. If you go up the stairs, we have our shed, and we set a couple picnic tables up there and do a couple of merit badges. And also up on our left is one of our QR codes that we were talking about earlier. Scan this, you can get a map, and then you can find out different information about whatever is labeled here. Erosion has been a big problem along the lake. You can see it a little bit here on the side of the hill where we built check dams to try and keep the sand from sliding in. But there are portions of the trail, of our lake trail, that go past out farther than our firebowl that we no longer are able to hike because it is all slowly falling into the lake. So we've been hiking for about 15 minutes now. We've passed the sandbar back there. The red trail, as I said in our earlier video, winds around the shores of Big Blue. You can see across the lake we have Camp Hiawatha Beach. That's part of Owasippe's property. And then directly across from us is a YMCA Camp Pendaluan, as well as another camp off to the right. Look, a turtle shell. Oh, there's turtle bones in there. It might be a map. It's probably a map turtle. We're here at the far end of Big Blue Lake inside the cove. If you continue along this lake trail, it will take you right along the way to High Beach. But as you can see, our trail marker is pointing this direction. So we will continue along the red trail this way, pulling away from the lake all the way towards Paradise Valley.
Hello.
Hey, good to see you there. A U.S. Geological Survey marker. It's from 1928, and it gives you the elevation above sea level as EAT. I don't know what that means. So if you take a look here, you can see part of the base for the fire tower that used to be here. There's one base there, another one over there, and then there's a couple more out in the forest that you can't really see so well. If you look at the date on the concrete, it says 1925, so that's pretty old. We are on our way down into Paradise Valley. You'll understand the name as soon as you get down to the bottom of it. But there's a super steep hill right here. There's a lot of trees, a lot of tree spots, so you gotta be really careful as you're on your way down. So right over here starts the creek. That winds a little bit of the way through Paradise Valley. We'll cross it once more. And the creek actually comes right out of the ground over by that fallen tree over there. And it's very, very shallow, but it's also very, very cold. It's clean enough that if you are so bold, you are actually able to drink the water straight from the creek. There aren't really many contaminants in it. You might pick up some sand, which is gross, but it's maybe about 50 degrees. So it's a lot colder than you would expect it to be for it being this shallow. So if you look at the trail marker on the tree, how the tree is kind of swallowing it up, that's called burling. And sometimes the tree will actually swallow the whole trail marker up, and you will just see a giant lump right there. So if you take a look at this hole, it's kind of rectangular, it looks a little unnatural, and there's definitely some pipe sticking up in it somewhere. But this is actually the old foundation of a building. Way back when, before Owasippe owned the property, the Chicago Tribune would actually give people parcels of land when they subscribed to the Tribune. So they would give them a very small amount of land up here, which sounds great. You own land, that's so cool, except most of the land was directly next to each other, too small to build anything on, and if it was farther back than the road, you wouldn't be able to access it. But if you look at a couple places around reservation, you can find old ruins like here. There's some up ahead, and even some properties that are still privately owned here. So here we are crossing over Cleveland Creek, which feeds out of Lake Wolverine right down towards the end at Gustop Dam. There used to be a much smaller bridge than this that went across right there. It was really old, really rickety, missing a lot of planks, and the Owasippe Scout Association actually came in the fall and built this really nice new bridge. Welcome to the foundation. Some people know it as the foundation, some people know it as the old dance hall. That's all I really know about it. It was either a dance hall or it was like a hotel that had kind of a general store underneath it. There's also actually a rumor that Capone used to hide out here. As we continue on from the foundation towards Owasippe's Grave, you can take a look out here at Cleveland Creek and see how the elevation starts to come up. So by the time we are at Owasippe's Grave, we're pretty much at the top of the hill. We have another marker for the virtual forest. The earlier one we saw pointed out some of the plants in the area, but this one actually gives you coordinates. So it pulls up the map and it tells you where Ad Center is, so 1.87 miles away, and then it gives you your coordinates and it'll show you a map when you click on it. So here we are, walking up to the entrance to Owasippe's Grave. If you take a look down the trail here, you can see a white trail marker on the tree. This is not technically a part of the red trail, but it's about a 100-foot stretch of a white trail leading to where we want to go. So this is Owasippe's Grave. As you can see, there's a whole lot of things here. It's more of a memorial for him than an actual grave. So what troops will do is they'll come up and they'll bring something kind of as an offering for him. So I typically will bring like a rock or a bone or something. I know last year I brought up actually a piece of the mountains that they're carving Crazy Horse into out in South Dakota. So we thought it would be appropriate to bring it over here. So we've come back down off that hill by Owasippe's Grave, and it's gotten a lot more swampy, a lot more marshy, and a bunch of ferns have sprung up. So it's kind of looking a little bit like how it does over by on the Blue Trail with logs. So here is where the Blue Trail ends and becomes the Red Trail, which we talked about in an earlier video. Out this way is Piers Bayou. Into Piers Bayou runs Cleveland Creek, and then right back out to that bridge that we crossed earlier. But we are going to continue to go on the Red Trail. So we just went from kind of a swampy area down in Piers Bayou. We walked through a little savanna back there, and now we're back here in the woods. And that's kind of one of the cool things about Owasippe. We have a bunch of different types of environments in such a small area. We have a very diverse amount of nature and wildlife up here. It's kind of unique. We are hopping out of the Red Trail back up at Ad Center. Pick up all the way on the other side. Speaking of different environments, we're basically in a desert right now. It's probably 10 degrees hotter out of the woods, and there's cactus on the ground. That's prickly pear. Later in the summer, it will have these really, really pretty yellow blooms on top. We've made it across the desert that is Ad Center Lawn, and we're back here on the Red Trail. This is also the beginning of one of the bike trails, so look out if you're on this path. It's called Turtle Valley because, as the story goes, if you look at it from an aerial shot, it's shaped like a turtle. And then you start heading back down towards Wolverine. Right here is the end of the Red Trail. You can see on this side of the marker it says Red Trail starts, and back on this side of the marker it said Red Trail ends. So as we talked about in our earlier video, it meets up with the White Trail and the Orange Trail. The Orange Trail is starting its loop around Lake Wolverine, and the White Trail is heading back towards the Blue Trail over by the bogs going back towards Runniker. Thanks for joining us!